Good evening. This is the July 8th Athens Shade Tree Commission meeting. We're going to start off as usual with tree permit and right-of-way issues. We've got one tree permit that I've just forwarded on to Ron Lucas for 23 Blick Avenue. I don't think we haven't got a decision yet on that one, have we, Ron?
Not yet. I haven't sent it off to code yet.
Okay. Alvy McWilliams has been working with project plans on some tree sites along East State Street, and she's now identified, I think, total of 13 sites. 10 of them will be for small trees on the west side between Morris Avenue and Stimson Avenue, and there'll be 3 on the, did I say west side? I meant the east side. On the west side of East State Street, there are 3 sites there for large shade trees, and after the meeting, if we can get together and discuss some species for them, I think that would help us, because what we'd like to do is develop the list for the fall planting and get that out for bid, for pricing and so on. Do you have any other right-of-way issues?
There were a couple of tree permits that I sent through code in June, and they are in the right of way. I'm meeting with Randy Shoes next week to begin the removal process on that.
Okay. Do you recall if that one includes 157 Morris? Because the owner's been asking me
double check on that
about that one,
but pretty sure it does. 157 Morris.
Yeah. Is it a removal?
Yeah, it's a removal.
Yeah. Okay.
No, it's a prune.
It's a prune? Oh, okay. Okay. We want to look at that site for a possible replacement and plan how we do a replacement, because that tree isn't going to last much longer.
Okay. It might end up being a removal then. I'll just go ahead and add that to the notes.
Yeah.
I think the property owner was requesting it to be a prune. That's what it was.
Oh, okay. Because my impression was that they were expecting it to be removed. Now, maybe what they told you was what they wanted, and what I heard was what they thought was going to happen. I mean, if you and Anne think it's savable, then it might be worth it. But it struck me that there were an awful lot of dead branches in that tree, and we've already done some quite extensive pruning on it already over the years. So we have to reach a point where there's a limit of how much we want to...
52 South Shannon, where we reached that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it one of the silver maples or normal
Yes.
maples?
Yeah. It's one of the original plantings of silver maples.
That one was just down.
Yes. And this one's in a similar sort of state. It's got a number of large dead branches.
That whole stretch now on between 52 and 32 South Shannon is really opened up.
Well, 52, we're going to plant a tree in the fall for her there.
I just noticed today one of the larger trees on Court Street that looks obviously dead.
Do you recall the address?
Just right up top. I can't remember what shop was in front of that, but there's it has no leaves on it.
Isn't it in front of the diner?
No, it's a large one, and it's just geez, I was just driving. So I would take a look. There's a dead tree on Court Street, and it was pretty good size. It was probably 4 or 5 inches.
So it's on the section going towards the bookstores. Because that's where the larger ones are, I think.
Yeah. It was kind of a surprise to see some. Typically, it's the real small ones that die, but this was a larger one.
Okay. We'll have to look at that. Okay. If there aren't any other right-of-way issues, let's move on to the landscape ordinance issues. We've got 3 on here. I think we'll take them in order that they're appearing on the agenda. So I think, Mr. Reese, you're here for integrated service systems. You want to come up to the podium and introduce yourself and so on?
David Breeser, RBC Architects, and actually my partner, John Ballantyre, is in charge of this project. He's away this week, and I'm here to agree to anything.
Okay. Good. We received copies of the plan. I visited the site with Alvin McWilliams. I guess one of the issues that we have is with the plan for buffering along the what would be the north side of the parking lot, the new parking lot. We felt those trees were too close together to be really effective as large shade trees, and that they will be better located perhaps elsewhere on the site, if possible. The boundary on the west side, where the new apartment housing is going to go, didn't appear to have as much buffering. Now, part of the reason there, I think, is there's a high voltage cable running down that side.
That's correct.
And then on the south side of that lot, I think it isn't clear from the plan we've got how close the building line gets to the edge of the plot. I don't know if there's an automatic spacing on that side or not. It looks like it could be 8 feet from the drawing.
Well, as I alerted the Planning Commission the other day, this is totally, this proposed future building shouldn't even be on here because there's no permit being sought for it. It doesn't, this thing that on yours says apartment and mine actually, which is probably more current, is just future development.
Okay.
The owner of the property intends to develop it, but at this point there's no fixed plan for anything to happen. So I think that he would like, so that dotted thing is kind of like a place marker or something like that. We're just sort of saying there could be a structure in there. So
is there any reason why the parking has to go on the side it's going? Because in pure tree terms, it will be better, I think, to have the parking lot on the other side. That way you could retain the willow tree that you're going to have to cut down. There's some...
Do we have to... I saw a willow tree there. Is that willow tree...
Yes, it's going to have to go.
Isn't the willow tree on the adjacent property to the north, or...
I don't think so. It says remove existing willow on my plan. Maybe there's a reason why the parking needs to go on that side. I don't
John, did you say you were involved in the discussions around that?
Paul Logan and I sat down with John Ballantyre and Kevin Gillespie, the owner, with Integrated Services, and the willow tree would come out for the parking as you're talking. Parking is on the side that it is, along with the trees and the fence along that border, per the property owner's request to the north side of the property, that the structure, whatever is built here, would not back up to them. So it was her request that whatever's developed there, the parking actually goes between that building and her with some sort of screening down through there. That's how this has developed the way it has.
Okay.
Planning Commission was kind of recommending the same thing you are, but I know the property owner, I think, is working hard with the property owner next door.
Okay.
So would there be a fence there plus trees?
Correct. Yeah.
That's what's proposed.
Yeah. Yeah, at the moment those trees are planted about 20 feet apart. We would normally recommend 30 feet apart for large shade trees.
Well,
certainly for us to count them, we'd only count them every 30 feet, so we would exclude some of those from the count required. And this lot, I believe, is big enough for 12. I didn't write it on my list. I meant to do that. It's I think there's something like 12,000 square feet here altogether with these two lots.
When we figured both sides of the
Yeah.
street, compared for the existing structure with the addition on it and the parking area only, not including whatever structure you're going to build on the other side, we calculate 16 trees to be required.
Okay.
Looking at the north property line where we have those trees that seem to be too close together, is my understanding that on the north and west there will be this fence already exists.
Yes, it does.
And then they're going to replicate this style of fence then on the north side. Is that correct? Or?
I don't know. All I saw was
And
when we visited.
I guess what I was wondering, because I couldn't even figure out what species of trees all those little trees were, that, in a situation like that, might it be better to have a shorter, if you plant a tall tree, a tall shade tree, it's going to permanently shade the neighbors.
Well, yes, again, that's why
What?
you would prefer the
So I
pine to be on the other side.
wonder, if you could go with this tighter spacing, but with a tree that wasn't expected to exceed more than, 12 or 14 or 16 feet or something,
Yeah, you can do that, but we don't count them then in the same way. There's the medium-sized trees, and which is what this spacing looks like it's been laid out for. And there, I think we count 2 medium-sized for one large. The downside usually with the smaller trees is they don't last as long, and so you could be replanting after 15, 20 years. Whereas if you put a large shade tree in, chances are you're not going to be around to have to replant it.
And you think these should then be shade trees as opposed to some kind of a juniper or arborvitae or something like that? Or there's a lot of long-lived trees that don't get that big.
Well,
I don't know. I'd love it if you could just tell us what the appropriate thing to do was, because that's all we want to do.
Certainly, it is a consideration that if the neighbour doesn't want all the shade from the large shade trees, because they're the ones who are actually going to get it. If we do it that way, it would be there would be an alternative of using the medium-sized ones, but then we'd be looking at something like 32, or at medium-sized ones, we'd have to look at the site and see how many large shade trees you've got and subtract those from the 16.
They do have the northern property line of the integrated services building that currently has none. So they could very easily run those trees all the way down. Which could be
There's sort of a slot there that's not very attractive between a fence and their building. It seems that could be a possibility.
Well, back to the trees that would be planted there, I think we're interested in having pavement in parking lots shaded. And if we had something like narrow junipers or arborvitae, they really wouldn't provide any shade for the pavement.
Well, the tree line in this case is to the north of the pavement, so it wouldn't do any good no matter what it was.
Well, a shade tree certainly would overhang the pavement.
Yeah. Well, so would you rather we go to a larger spacing with a shade tree there along that, and then figure out to add somehow trees along the western or the southern edge of that site?
Were we talking about putting some trees in the right-of-way, or its possibility?
Or was that on this?
That isn't the right of way. No, the street goes up the middle.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's right.
I think we're going to have to sit down with you and try and work out a more detailed plan. You've got the space there for it. I don't think there's any problems about there being an issue over the space. It's just a case of where can we put them and what's the best thing. And that's not something that we can easily do in this sort of format.
So is it possible for you to make an appointment now?
Yes.
To somebody? Would I be meeting with all of you and some other?
We try and meet with as many tree commissioners as we can, but that's usually the best way to try and do it, I think.
Okay, so when can we do this?
Who's in town the week after next? I don't really want to do this next week if I can avoid it.
Well, what about tomorrow? I just didn't get this wrapped up and not have to delay the whole
morning is a
project.
possibility for me. Is that?
I could.
Okay.
So tomorrow morning?
Yeah. Do you want to meet at your offices?
Yeah, that'd be great. Just what time would you like?
What time? 9?
I'm in it
Okay.
at 7, so
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Okay. But as far as I can see, you've got the space here for it. It's just a case of trying to figure out how best to
What the most appropriate.
put it all together is.
Great.
Okay.
So are there any other questions relative to this, Pete?
I don't think so at the moment. I haven't got any more questions.
When he comes up with a resolution, you just want to have the drawings done, just submit them to me.
Yes.
Okay, so I will not be present for them.
No, you don't do that.
Okay.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Okay. The next one is Southeast Beverage Company. Mr. Williams, if you'd like to come up and just introduce yourself, and we'll try and run over this one too.
Good evening. My name is John Williams. I'm with Hoon Incorporated. We're a general contracting firm here in Athens. The existing Kerr building has sold this spring to a new developer that was located in Gloucester, Ohio, doing business there as Miller Brands. They have combined the Coors and non-alcoholic beverage with Miller and would like to do an addition to the existing Kerr warehouse facility that is at 771 West Union Street. There's a couple say governing factors there, being that we have a power line right-of-way with AEP to the east side of our property, and then along the front of the property, that all is city right-of-way that the owners and myself just found out this week. So we do have a little bit of limited area. There's approximately 11, 12 trees on the site now at the entryways. We have some loading docks west side of the building with some small evergreens. I think it's showing 3 there at this time. And southwest corner there is one large tree there. I'm not sure of the species, but approximately 10, 11 trees existing on site. Working with John Paskins from City Code, he had spoke with one of the members, feeling that if we would line the existing paving up to the east side with shade trees, large trees at 30-foot spacings, that would give us approximately 12 more trees to our site without encroaching into that right-of-way of the power lines. Yesterday at the Planning Commission meeting, they've granted approval, providing we meet shade tree requirements for our site to continue this development and bringing more jobs to Athens.
Okay. My estimate of this area is about 300,000 square feet, which comes out to something like 160 plus
That was when
trees.
you were calculating the right-of-way in.
Okay.
It's actually less. It comes out to probably around 100 trees.
Okay.
Somewhere in that area.
But we're looking at a very large number of trees required, and it is a very difficult site to actually see how to get all these trees onto there. And so what we have to do is also bear in mind that we do have within the ordinance the ability to have the owner plant additional trees elsewhere in the city. However, to meet that requirement, we've got to exhaust every possibility we can, I think, in the existing site.
Right. Our site there is zoned in the city for industrial use. There are 2 other large businesses in that zoning, being United Parcel Service, and then the TS Trim building is to the south of us. So, that is an industrial area that we do have quite a bit of large truck traffic. So close to the right-of-way, we have Kinney Road that is the entrance to the Southeast Beverage, UPS, and TS Tech. So we got to be a little bit careful about how close we get to that right-of-way on the west side. I did show 4 additional trees along that southwest property line. There again, we would want to hold it back from that right away just because of the in-use traffic.
Yeah. So that those 4 on that southwest corner, you don't think you can extend that line for any further along the edge of your roadway?
I think we can.
Okay.
There's some fire hydrant issues right there. There was a dry hydrant back along that property to service the big TS Tech building. Right at Kinney Road, there is a hydrant there for the fire department to hook onto. And if they need that line of sight between the hydrant and the dry hydrant that is to fight a fire on the TS Tech building, I didn't want to encroach, if you will, in a line of sight factor.
Yeah.
So that's why I didn't extend that 5th tree or 6th tree. You see my existing dry hydrant shown 2/3 of the way back from Kinney Road. And the actual hydrant itself, if you will, that is showing existing hydrant is closer to our property line than actually placed on this drawing. So there is a small line of sight issue that I could see there.
Okay. Then along the north edge of the parking lot at the front, I think there's space there to allow some large shade trees to be planted. There is a utility line that we need to keep clear of, but by being as close as we can to that parking lot, I think we can get more shade trees in there. You've got a nice sign, but I don't think there'll be any problems with obstruction there, because when you spec the large shade trees for planting, you normally do it 6 to 8 feet of clearance, clear of branches. So that should leave the sign visible.
Sure.
Certainly. The other thing we can allow you to do, because of that city right-of-way down there, is to possibly plant more trees in the sort of northeast corner of that right-of-way, so we can get more trees into there.
Sure. I believe that right-of-way does continue down over that right-of-way. The city used to be a Y right there going into Ellisville Road. They have now cleaned that up to just one street and have done some green areas down there with some tree planting already.
Yeah.
So, doing that, continuing, possibly would be just fine with us.
Yeah. Okay. Who maintains that area?
The property owner does.
Okay. That's good of him.
That whole bank along 56 is maintained right now by the property owners.
That's good. Well, I think that the best way to proceed is that we need to have more trees planted on or shown on the drawings. They can be planted within 30 feet of each other.
Yes, sir.
To count. So that's I think the next step, because we can't approve this until we figured out exactly how many trees you can fit on this site without giving you line of sight issue. I accept all the safety arguments you're making. That's
sure.
A reasonable thing to be concerned about. But what we need to do is figure out exactly how many you can really fit on this site.
Okay.
Because I don't think you're going to be able to fit all of them that are needed.
Oh, no, most definitely not.
And so at that point, as I said, we have to be certain as a commission that we've exhausted every possibility of putting trees on this site.
Yes.
And then we're going to have to talk to your principal about where we can possibly plant the additional ones.
Right. And just keeping in mind that there is a financial responsibility by the owner. If we're pitting a total of 100 new trees out there, that could be a financial burden that wasn't taken in consideration of buying this new business and operating for this short time, if you will, with this addition and his investments to that facility.
Yeah.
I don't know how many of these considered large trees that they got on there, but with the new ones they're talking and the existing ones, just as shown, there's probably, 29, 25 there. And then the whole east property line is treed. So I don't know.
Well, that's one thing we need to sort out is how many of those trees on that eastern property line can we count?
Right. So then if they put some more in front, I'm thinking probably maximum they're going to get on this is half of what's required, 50, probably, depending how many's on that property line.
Yeah.
Do we know the species on the,
There are no species.
no one knows, are those conifers? Are those evergreens, or are they deciduous?
There were some lindens at the front of the building, I think.
Okay.
There was the four, as you come in the drive,
Yeah.
the four shown to the left are crabapple variety.
Oh,
So they're only small trees.
they're not shade trees.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, they're not large shade trees anyway.
Those trees are about 20 feet tall with a canopy of about
Yeah.
25.
Yeah.
Right, and for a fair amount of the summer, they don't give that much shade.
Very well.
I mean, they tend to lose their leaves in the hottest part of the summer.
Not all crab apples.
No, but many. Maybe these are shadier.
Your varieties should be better. But those would count as half a large tree, each one.
Sure, sure.
And what about the ones south of the drive? Do you happen to know what those are? They're 5 marked there.
Just south of that drive. One of them is an oak.
Okay.
The closest to that parking area is a fairly large oak. The other, there's 3 there, if you will, that are surrounding a flagpole.
Okay.
Those are part of that crabapple variety also.
Okay. Right.
And the 5th one out by Kenny Road, I do not know what that one
Okay.
is.
Thank you.
Yeah. East side of the property line there that we're talking, how many of those are on our property, how many of them are not. There's approximately 8 trees that I can see, literally the stump going into the ground on this side of the property line stake. As for canopy, we've got a numerous canopy hanging over onto that.
What we usually do is look at is from the species, say whether it's a large shade tree
Okay,
or not.
okay.
And we're looking for approximately 100 large shade trees.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. For this sort of area.
Yes. Just one general comment. This owner has made the comment that he is looking at lots of adjacent property that have no shade trees.
Yep. This ordinance has been was brought in well after UPS and the others were out there.
That's correct.
And what happens is when a major upgrade is done to a property, then these ordinances kick in.
Sure. There was a talk maybe with John that the existing facility was approximately 35,000 square feet. Our new addition is 12,000 square feet. If we could bring the existing property up to today's code with that square footage of the new facility, possibly it could be some type of variance that the existing building and Kerr has been there the 30 plus years with the amount of trees that they have right now, that our new 12,000 square feet would be bringing the rest of the property up to that requirement per square foot of building.
It's an argument.
Sure.
It isn't there in the ordinance, I'm afraid.
Yes. Understood.
As I said, what we have to do is look very carefully at the ordinance and figure out how we can proceed with this one, because it is a challenge.
Yes.
There's no doubt about it. So I think what we have to do is just hold off on making a final decision on this tonight. I don't think we're going to be able to do that. We need to get more detail in the landscape plans and see how close we can get you to the number that we think you need.
Sure. And I could get a list of those varieties that count as a large shade tree, or would you like just me to list the varieties that we do have that's on the property now?
We can do both.
Okay.
And I can send you, or Ron can send you a list. Have you got the current list, Ron? Yeah. I mean, we have a list of ones that we recognise as large shade trees.
Very well.
I mean, it's the usual suspects: the oaks, the maples, those.
Would you suggest then that, for instance, the crabapple not being a variety of a large shade tree, would you suggest of removing that to replace?
Well, this is where we need to go carefully, because if we decide that we'd rather leave that crabapple there, then maybe we're going to count that one as for the time being just as a large tree.
And if we get to see it, we can see like, that's a crabapple and it's mature, but it probably only has 4 more years left in it.
This is the problem with crab apples. They don't last long.
Sure.
Yeah.
So that's a kind of a
Yeah.
consideration.
Yeah. So that's where I think we have to leave it for the moment. We need more information than we've got to make a final decision on this one. So I don't think that doesn't really affect them proceeding with their plans, is it, John?
The Planning Commission approved the project on condition that they make, arrangements with you. I don't think we really want to hold them up on their project until, however long it takes to resolve. I think it can be resolved, but I do agree that it's going to take a little bit of work to figure it out, and all likely the banking system of some sort, because getting 100 trees here is going to be rather difficult.
Yes.
So, and we're speculating that number on 100. I think we need, maybe you and I sit down and really calculate the numbers out as to the exact number, and then if you guys could do a site visit and determine what's on that property line, how many they got. I mean, you're better doing that than I.
Yeah. Is that when I was out there on Saturday, I saw some flags out for the property lines, but I didn't go up on that bank. Is that bank marked with
Yes,
flags
it is.
as well? So we'd be able to see
Yes.
if we went out there.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
If you'd like to schedule a time, I'd be more than welcome to, walk it with you also.
Okay.
A really positive thing about this, if my reading is correct of this plan, is that the place where we put the trees should have a good opportunity. It's not like planting them on Court Street or even in a tree lawn. The trees should survive nicely and not need replacement if they're properly planted.
Sure.
Sure.
I do have a couple area photos of the site. If you'd like to look at those now, it gives you a more perspective, from a bird's eye view. I would have enough copies for everybody.
You can hand them out if you like.
Sure.
Yeah.
This is just off the Athens City GIS data.
So if you look over on the right-hand side of the photograph, that's the top of a bank, and you can see where they've drawn in the property line in red going through there, that it's clearly going through quite a number of those trees. The difficulty is at the foot of that bank, about halfway across the sort of lighter shaded piece, is the utility line. And so we can't get too close on either side of that for planting trees. And then that utility line is, I think it's, as well as around the north side, it goes around the south side too, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. And
we're 3 sides of the property has utility lines. The area down at the right-of-way where I said that used to be a Y, I do see the shading today from this picture that there are 2 utility poles there.
Yeah. Yes, you can see the poles on them, can't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then beside our sign, within about 6 feet of our sign, we have a utility pole there.
Yeah. And that's why it would be good to get, you can just make out there is enough space, I think, on the north side of that parking lot to get trees up against its edge, and they won't interfere with those lines. Whereas on the other end, they could get a bit close, and that's a reason, I think, for looking carefully at those crab because you might not be able to put large shade trees to replace the crab apples.
We would also need, permission to get those in that right of way.
Oh yeah,
along the north side of that property.
Yeah. No, that's one thing that we are able to do with this ordinance, and that's
good.
I'm looking at that as one place that we can put some of these trees that we need to have in there. That was why I was asking about the maintenance, because if your property owner's already thinking about maintaining that area anyway, you plant trees, you don't have to cut the grass as much. There is a good trade-off.
Sure.
Takes a few years for that to happen, but
yes, sir.
But you've got that on your side as well. Would you be available on Saturday to have a look at this Saturday morning?
Yeah, I plan to be working Saturday.
Okay. Is that a time when other commissioners could go out there?
What time?
Could be late morning or afternoon sometime.
I could in the afternoon.
Was afternoon possible?
That would be fine.
Okay.
I have a project that we plan to be working on anyway.
Okay.
So,
particular time? 2, 3?
I won't be available.
Okay. What's the best time for you? 2 o'clock, 3
2
o'clock?
o'clock would be great.
2 o'clock.
Anytime.
So we'll meet you 2 p.m. on Saturday. If you can have a set of drawings that we can work on at the time, because we may be able to figure out how to get
I
the...
can give you one of these.
Okay.
Bigger.
That would be good.
copies here.
Yeah.
I can print some more also, full size.
Yes, please. Because that way we can work on them and try and sort this out as best we can. Because we definitely want to see this one go ahead.
Oh, yes. John and I talked a little bit. I am a member of the Athens County Senior Fair Board. Been on the sale committee for about 10 years, and there's been some requests maybe of getting some trees along the Union Street side of our property.
Yes, we're very interested in getting some in the right-of-way there as well, yes.
So being a member of that committee, I may have a little bit of influence there. I did run that by our owners that maybe we can get, a little bang for our buck, if you will, of planting trees on the fairgrounds and helping the city shade tree committee.
Yeah. Well,
so I'm looking into that on both sides here.
Yeah. As I said, we need to exhaust every possibility on the site before we go to that stage.
Sure.
But that's certainly something that the ordinance allows us to do.
Very well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. 57 East State Street. This is what was a fraternity, may still be a fraternity. They've done a lot of work on refurbishing the property. From what we can tell in the property records and in the records that the Code Office have, they did exceed the 50% upgrade of their value. And so the tree ordinance, the landscape ordinance should apply to them now.
I did talk to Mr. Summers. He is the chapter president for the fraternity, and they have no problem with putting 7 trees like we talked about, equally spaced all along State Street. He asked, do you want them between the sidewalk and the road, or do you want them behind the sidewalk? And then what if you would make a recommendation as to the species? They got to replace the sidewalk here soon before we issue them an occupancy permit anyway. So
I think we would prefer them to be between the sidewalk and the building.
Sidewalk and building.
Yeah. And after the meeting, we'll sit down and work out some species for these. We need basically 7 large trees for that site. That'd be a wonderful addition along East State Street with that section to get some large shade trees there.
And that's what we calculated was 7, correct?
Yeah. That's good.
Is there a tree lawn there?
They took everything down when they renovated the building.
No, there isn't a tree lawn there, but they could create one because the right-of-way, I think, would allow them to do that. But I personally would prefer to have the trees between the sidewalk and the building.
Still, the right-of-way goes to the front of the building, so they're still being right-of-way.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to give them permission to plant them in the right-of-way, but I mean, that's the...
It goes all the way up to the front?
It's almost in front of the building, yeah. It's very... East State Street's got a wide right-of-way.
Possibility to do tree pits there, or the sidewalk too narrow?
The sidewalk's too narrow.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be just better for the trees if they
do better.
And we always have better space if they can be on the building side of the sidewalk rather than the street side of the sidewalk, unless it's an extremely wide tree lawn.
It's not that wide.
No, it isn't.
Plus
It's very...
Brick Street.
Yeah.
Eventually end up.
Okay. I don't think there are any other landscape ordinance issues. Ron, it's time for your report.
I don't have a lot this month. Dealt with a a few tree permit issues with John's staff that were outstanding from earlier in the year. Total Tree Care is currently finishing up our current contract. As a matter of fact, he may bill me tomorrow, and then on Monday we're going to try to meet and do another cycle with 23 Blick and right-of-way permitting. 157 more and a couple other hazard trees that were requested over during June. So the only other thing that I had is that Paul Lowe, city planner, and myself went to Zanesville today and looked at the tree grates that they have. If we can work out a price with those folks in Zanesville, they're well worth it. They're very nice. They're 48 inch by 48 inch grates, cast steel, pretty good condition, and they have 76 of them. So they're willing to part with them for just over scrap value. So my next step is determining the scrap value by estimating the approximate weight of those and calling around and seeing what scrap value is, and then we can take a trip to Zanesville and get the tree grates.
So what is their design? What is their, I mean, like, will cigarette butts? Pardon?
I have a photo on my camera. I can show you afterwards if you want. They're just it's a spiral design that has big enough holes that will allow debris to go through, and then we can vacuum that out with some type of leaf blower vacuum contraption instead of it gets stuck in the grating. So that should help. And our current pits are 4 foot by 4 foot, so we shouldn't have to do too much retrofitting. So,
will these take any type of guard? Because we've spoken about having tree guards on some of these. On Court Street.
We'll have to look around. I believe they are standard design, so they should take a guard. I'll have to look into that further.
Because we still got that hanging out there, that there are some trees where we really could do with a guard.
Yeah.
The grate, a good heavy grate is one way to lock it in place.
Another nice thing about this particular grate is they're a 3-circle system, and when I show you the picture, you'll know that. See it better. You can cut those circles out as the tree grows.
Excellent.
So you always have your guard.
Good. Well
That's
done.
really all I have.
Okay. I don't have any further progress to report on the Emerald Ash Borer. I know that we've been training people to look at the south side, but we haven't got any data, as far as I know, from the south side yet.
At least the Emerald Ash Borer update?
Yeah.
Not a date yet.
Yeah. And then under other business, I went to the Southeastern Ohio Rain Gardens meeting. This is a group that's being led by Kathy Bobo and Teresa Caldwell of the Soil and Water Conservation District. It mainly involves people from Athens and Athens County, but the idea is that we're going to try and reach out to the adjacent counties as much as we can in southeast Ohio to promote the benefits of stormwater management through the use of rain gardens and rain barrels for beautification and clean water. That's the mission statement that was adopted for it. They've got 4 projects in hand. One of them is at the code office in town, 2 are at the rec centre, and the 4th one escapes me at the moment. I'm not sure where that one is.
They're currently existing, or they're in the planning?
They have a grant for them, and they're going to be implemented in the late summer, fall season. Certainly these 3 that I just mentioned, and the 4th one I thought I'd written down where it was.
3 of them at the rec center?
Sorry?
3 at the rec center?
2 at the rec centre. Or maybe that's where the 3rd one going. But I know that there are 2 identified around the rec centre building
Yeah.
itself, and then there's one at the code office.
Yeah, ours will be rather small,
Yeah.
and there's another one at the rec
Yeah.
center small. One of them's going to be pretty good size.
Yeah, these are demonstration ones which are much larger than most people would actually install. Even yours, I think, will be quite big compared to what a householder might actually do. But anyway, that has started. They have educational goals. They plan to provide technical assistance, and they're going to look for some funding to promote education and installation of these gardens. They're going to try and maintain lists of nursery suppliers and also contractors who work and are familiar with installing rain gardens. Because now that the city code has been changed to enable all these things to happen, thank you, we're expecting that contractors are going to need some education in this area.
When was this meeting?
It was yesterday. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you're on the list as well, are you?
I had it on my calendar to go, but I had to put out a fire, so to speak.
Yeah. Because in fact, I may need a backup sometimes to go into this, and so I may call on you.
I got some information about it. But it
as
was
a master
by-
gardener, you might have got it then, because they're trying to include the master gardeners.
But
in
we've
this.
had a presentation on
Yeah, but they're looking to include a number of groups
But
within this.
I got something, I didn't get it until after I was on vacation,
Yeah.
and about when I could meet. And
Yeah, it was pretty short notice, I think, when they sent it out. Yeah.
Well, they've already reached out to the master gardeners in Arlington, Virginia, because my sister's become a master gardener. She went to a workshop on it.
Well, there is a website for the Columbus area. It's called Corgi, and I'm trying to remember what Corgi stands for as an abbreviation. No, I don't have it written down, but it's basically a Central Ohio rain garden something. I'm not sure what the I stands for, but they again tried to choose. They tried to create an organisation that was big enough to deal with more than just one county. They wanted to look beyond that point, and the same thing's happening in Southwest Ohio as well. There's around Cincinnati. There's an organisation being
So
set
now
up.
let me get this straight there. My understanding from what I've heard about rain gardens is it was primarily to control stormwater. But did they also, because it strikes me that it should also sort of help you keep the water on your property, which would benefit your own
Yeah.
garden and plants. Did they, what were their two goals again?
Well, the main the mission is to promote the benefits of stormwater management through rain gardens. But clearly, you're going to benefit the property owner as well, because they're going to retain the water and use it on their site
Right.
wherever they can. And so there is the benefit there. One of the concerns which I don't think we have in this community or in any of the communities around here is that we don't have rules that require you to put your storm water into a storm drain. There are some communities where you're required to do that. But here you're
We
not.
don't now.
Pardon?
We don't yet.
There's no reason to. In fact, you would much prefer it to be in the land because of the filtration and other things.
Yeah, right.
I think where it has occurred is in highly developed areas where they need the storm water to dilute the sewage.
Really?
Yes. Because they don't have enough water in their drains, basically. That's where it's come from. Now, we've always had the opposite problem of having storm drains connected to the sewers and all the rest of it. But no, as far as I know, we don't have any rules that require storm water to go into the storm drains directly.
Very soon.
Well, why do we want to have it done that way?
I think that's a better question to maybe ask Andy someday, or there's some litigation going on that, I don't know, or ordinance proposals It's coming.
Nancy Bain will be-
It's an MS4 program that's going to require.
Yeah,
by
well,
the state.
this group is engaged in looking at that through the because the guy in charge of the wellhead protection scheme is on this group, and he's having a meeting about this MS4 thing tomorrow morning, where they're going to try and learn some more about it. But one of the things we really want to try and avoid is having to pipe the stormwater away from sites where it could be useful.
Well, one of the things that came up at the USA Tree City meeting was the facts about how much trees. Remember that in that presentation?
Yep.
How much stormwater those trees, one tree would take up, and it was very impressive. And I thought that it would be good for us to have those figures at our fingertips as members of the Tree Commission, because that really just.
Yeah, it's hundreds of dollars of worth in terms of stormwater retention that these trees can provide. Each large tree can.
Pretty staggering amount of water per year.
Yeah, so that's why we really want to try and keep it on the side. I think that's all I'd got under. Oh yes. We've already mentioned this, but we need to be developing our fall planting tree site list and species list. That's coming together. Ron's got a good grasp of where we've taken trees out and where we can put trees back in.
How many trees can we plant in the fall?
I usually try and plan for 20 to 30. That's usually going to exceed the budget. But I always like to have more sites available than we've got money for, because that way we're ready for next year. And so that's we've got 13 trees identified along East State Street, but 10 of them are going to be small trees. They're going to make up probably half of the planting for this year. Then there'll be some trees that are going to be planted to replace trees that we've taken out in key areas like South May, where there's that gap now. Shannon, South Shannon. But that's all we can do, I'm afraid. That's typically.
What's the average cost for a large tree planting?
Ron, do you know a good number for that?
$250 to $300.
Is there any reduction when they're for a group of trees, or we could get a...
Yes, it benefits us if we order in bulk.
Yeah.
Okay.
And small trees are cheaper than big trees, and
But we
planted close together again, it can ease the price as well.
Right, so if they're grouped in one area of the city, and but we have the minimum caliper for tree.
Yeah, we have to relax it quite often for the small trees, though.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see, for non-shade trees.
Yeah, along that east side of East State Street, we're going to be planting things like tree lilac.
Right.
I've got the list here. Sweet bay magnolia. There's a small Acer that we can plant along there as well. But we wouldn't require the larger caliper there. And apparently the fraternity along there have been much better at looking after trees than historically they have. So
excellent.
We're hoping that we can get them involved in looking after these things.
Are those small trees on East State to go under power lines?
Yes. Yeah, there's power lines on that side of the street.
You'd better reconsider the Sweet Bay Magnolia, because it can get quite large.
Okay, we'll have a look at that one.
Okay.
Yeah. As I say, we'll talk about species afterwards.
Okay.
Yes, there's a high voltage power line along that side of the street to worry about. I think that brings me to the end of what I've got. Is there any other items? We've got some minutes from the last meeting if people want to have a chance to have a look at them. I've got some copies here.
It can take a long time.
if you'd like to just look over them. These were based on Ron's notes from the meeting.
Sure.
Oh, Bob, was there an update on the Bicentennial Park Fund?
It's the same as
Okay.
it was. Basically, we have enough money to
Okay.
reinstall the park this year.
Great.
Rich Campitelli and myself will be physically locating where we want to put the trees so that you can take a look at it. See what you think.
Okay. So, can we have a motion to accept the minutes of the last meeting?
I move that we accept the minutes.
Second?
I second.
Okay. Anyone opposed to accepting the minutes? No. Good. We've got minutes of the last meeting. We're going to pencil in a meeting for the 12th of August. That would be formally our next meeting.
Cancel? Is that what you said?
No. No, I said we will pencil it in because we may need to have it, particularly if we need to discuss anything to do with these landscape ordinance issues we've had tonight. We may have to close on those there. Hopefully we can come to agreements before then now on those. I think that is it. We are adjourned. Thank you.